Good morning.
Morning again. I think maybe for the third time. It's Your Life with Kelly and Amy. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Amy. This has been an interesting time trying to get online. We've been trying to get online here for the last 12 minutes.
12 minutes, yes. So we don't know, the internet gods are not working with us today. So we had a few challenges, but we are back
And we are going to talk about how to thrive, not just survive. How relevant is that right now?
very relevant.
Because we've had challenges, and so we're not going to let it stop us. We're going to conquer this.
Yes,
so when we were getting ready to talk about this, I realized if you'd heard us for the first few minutes before we got kicked off, it really all has to do with joy. And so I found a quote from Joseph Campbell that was perfect for this. And he says, "We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live with joy."
Yes, we can. That is so very true.
So even in the midst when Kelly's computer decided to start doing a maintenance thing in the middle of our show, we're going to choose to be joyful in this moment.
Hey, it's been maintained, so it's up to par.
Yes. And I do want to tell anyone who didn't hear us for that few minutes before was that we were talking about a book. It's called The Book of Joy. Mm-hmm. And it's by Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. And they wrote it together. I just ordered another hard copy because I gave mine away a couple of years ago. And I feel like I've missed it. I feel like that's one of those books where I like to have on the shelf. So if I need to change my perspective, it's a go-to. And it really comes down to, just like what Joseph Campbell was saying, it's a choice. We get to choose in every moment of every day. So I think right now, when you and I are talking about preparing for this, right now there's a lot of real struggles right now. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of sorrow, there's a lot of people that feel isolated or alone. They're missing community and that face-to-face time. They may be working at home, or maybe they're just at home because they are at high risk and so they have to isolate themselves. I think even when you go out shopping, I feel like, a lot of people are, we have our masks on, and so we're kind of going out in public and not even really that community or that connection is just not happening for a lot of people. So how do you choose joy, and how do you thrive and not just survive amidst all of this?
Yeah, it's weird, even just going to the grocery store with your mask on. It's like we're these little robots, being directed one way down the aisle. And, it's almost like people have lost or are afraid to, you can still interact with people. People can see you smile with your eyes. And I think people are so focused on just going in and getting their food and getting out, or whether you're there at a restaurant or something and not interacting. We can still interact. Our mouths are covered.
Yeah, but it is a funny situation because I even sense that some people don't want the interaction because they're afraid. And so there's this whole another dynamic that we didn't have before. And I think before, a lot of people before this happened, felt isolated, and a lot of people feel that way. I think community is something that a lot of people are missing. We don't have the good community that we need.
Yes.
And so I would love to find a way to help people create more of that. But I think it all comes with a choice and recognizing what do we really need. And we were talking a little bit before we got kicked off. kicked off. I don't know why that's so fun to say that. We got kicked off. But I think it's like, so what do people do? I mean, people I've met, people you've met, I know people use substance, alcohol, drugs to mask that or numb those feelings. They overeat. There's multiple things. They isolate themselves, or, don't reach out and ask for help because, I don't know, embarrassed or fear of rejection. There could be a whole host of things that, stop people from that. Can you think of a time in your life when you really felt like some of those things were really real, and that how did you get yourself out of it?
Yeah. And I mean, I've been through times in my life where not necessarily felt isolated, but just trying to adjust to change, where I didn't choose joy. And, it's very easy to mask the pain with substances. You know, I mean, for me, I probably drank more wine than I should have, or stayed home too much and just isolated myself. And, but, you know, you've got to rise above that. And, but, I mean, it was never a situation where it was a severe case, you know, where people would come to me and say something. But I know people who are in that situation or have been in that situation, where, you know, bad things happen, or there's been some trauma, or whether it's a loss, or, you know, it could be a loss of career, it could be loss of a spouse, could be, just like for now, the anxiety of being, you know, not having that community in your life. But people turn to drugs and alcohol. And I mean, just in the last few months, I didn't personally know these people, but I've heard through friends of, you know, 2 people who have committed suicide. And both of them, one kind of middle-aged, one a teenager. And which is, you know, I have a 17-year-old at home, and you know, I see that generation probably struggling even more than adults, because you know, they are used to being around their friends all the time, you know, school and you know, groups outside of school, it's all been eliminated.
Well, and
Where,
they need that. It's a bit important part of growing up is the social aspect.
right.
You
Yeah,
know, and
definitely.
I think that's what some people that I've, you know, I see things on social media, you know, they don't want the kids to go back to school. And I understand there's pros and cons to both of it. So I'm not
Hmm.
even trying to say what is right or wrong. It's more that not all kids have the perfect home life and
Hmm.
have the neighborhood community around them where they're having that. So now you've got kids that are completely isolated, that
Right.
don't have a good support system. And now if they don't get back to go to school, I really fear for a lot of those kids that don't have the tools to, I don't know, how do you have the tools or emotional capability to deal with what's going on right now?
Yeah, I remember when we first started the lockdown, you know, back in, what was that, April, May,
Yep,
I guess.
April
Um,
here anyway.
you know, I mean, both of my boys were here with me, and we put together a lot of puzzles. We played a lot of games. You know, we did fine, but like my youngest son has a youth group that he goes to, and they started doing the Zoom calls, and, you know, trying to get together as a group that way. And he made a comment to me one time. He said, you know, it's not the same. He goes, I don't like this Zoom conferencing with my friends. They need that age, that generation, they need to be together. They need the companionship, the camaraderie, the, you know, the gatherings, you know, school or groups, whatever it is, you know, sporting events, you know, these kids that play sports, they can't,
No.
you know, they're going, I hear about, actually I know a couple kids that started a summer camp, and then they all get tested and somebody shows up positive, and then it all ends. You know, it's like they saw a light at the end of the tunnel, they get to go, and then they're called right back in. You know, I just, it's they're, that generation really cannot adjust, where we as adults, you know, we have jobs and careers. A lot of us have been able to work from home or transition to working from home. And, you know, if you have teenagers out there, you really need to be in tune with your kids and know what's going on. And, you know, I mean, my son's been doing great, which is fantastic. But I mean, there was a period of time where he really, really, really missed that personal interaction with his friends. And he's very much an extrovert. If you got a kid that's an extrovert and they're quarantined, you know, make sure you're in touch with what's going on with them, because it's hard for them. It's a challenge. And, you know, it's, we got to figure out a way to get them involved or get them out, or, you know, and a lot of them I know are going back to work and doing their jobs, but they have to wear the mask, and that's all new for them. And it's a big change. And I can't even imagine the little kids not having that, you know, the building your social skills and being around other kids. I bet they're going bonkers. You know, they're all on electronics.
Well, and that's not the same. You know, it's not. I know we grew up in the same era there. You know, we were outside playing in the neighborhood all day. That's what we did. And I
Mm-hmm.
think there's some kids that were used to doing it here, and maybe they still can safely outside here. But the ones that don't have that where they live, you know, I don't even know how, you know, how long can we go on like this? Because again, I mean, we've got to find a way to be able to interact with each other safely.
Yes.
You know, where kids can get some normalcy back in their life. And I think
Yeah.
people as well. I mean, we're talking about kids because I think that, like you said, they don't have the same skills that we supposedly have by the time we're adults. But I mean, I feel it. I feel like even though I work from home for the most time, I was able to go to social things, and those things just aren't happening. It's just, so, I mean, just going to church is not happening right now. So,
Yeah, that's a big void. That is a big void. I can't wait to get back to church. But now is not the time to turn to vices that are not going to do you well. Alcohol or drugs or too much TV or Netflix or, you can still be a productive member of society, and you can still, get involved in things. It might be smaller groups of things, you got to think outside the box, and you got to.
So that's where I think we can talk about how to thrive, not to survive. I think it is being intentional about, like, we've been doing intentional with our 30-day self-care challenge of, like, okay, so we have a plan. So knowing that right now, if you're someone who needs that community, you need to have that connection. What can you do now every day so that there's something where you're connecting with someone, whether you're calling them, talking on the phone, you're going on FaceTime, you're doing a neighborhood, driveway visit. There's something. So there's that, we have to have that constant community because I think it is wearing on a lot of people.
Totally. And I think most of society is waiting for life to get back to normal. Well, you got to stop waiting, because it's not going to get back to normal for a while. And it's continually changing. We're continually having to adjust to what the new regulations are. And, we can go here now. No, now we can't go there anymore, or, you got the social distancing, or are we not social distancing? Don't wait for it to get back to normal. You got to create a new
way of doing things.
A new way of doing things. Exactly. Right. And so, again, think outside of the box. What can you do differently? Especially if you have kids, you gotta help them think outside of the box, because they don't have that mindset to do something different. Their way of life has just been completely altered.
Yes. But what you just said is so perfect, because we have to help them think outside the box. And I think that's what we all need. Because I know before I identified things that I was doing for years in my life, I needed someone else to point those out to me. I didn't see I was doing them. So I think, maybe if we all were to look around at our family and see who we can reach out to, and maybe you need to have a coach. I mean, I know I always do better when I have a coach, because I think we all need someone that we can turn to and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. And how, again, do more than just listen and be an ear for you, but to help you see things or create a new way of doing things.
Yes.
And maybe you have a friend that does that. It could be a friend or a family member. Sometimes we have friends that, will wallow in our sorrow with us, and that doesn't help it. So, so we do want to find someone that can help you see things differently and help you create a new way of doing things. Yes. Our kids, are number one. So finding a way to help them do things differently, I think is really important.
Yes.
Always, but especially at this time, because it's very, very different.
Yes, it is very different. And this whole year's crazy.
Yeah, 2020 will go down in history as one of the most interesting years on the planet, I think.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
But, don't sit around and wait. And think outside the box, get creative, sit down with your family, or, call your friends, call your family, and, maybe even making that an action step every day to reach out to one new person. And whether you do a FaceTime call or, hey, why don't we touch base, Tuesday morning every week at 8:30, and let's start reading a book together and talk about the book. Or
I like that idea.
Let's have coffee together on FaceTime. Or, and then, let's invite another friend, and you can do conference calling. You can add people in, or Zoom. And, just, but make it a repetitive thing. Make it a every week, an action that you do to break up the monotony of not knowing what's going on, not knowing where life is going, not knowing what's going to happen with this COVID thing. You got to create some normalcy in your life now, but you have to do it. You got to create that action.
Yeah. No one's going to do it for you. So yeah. Okay. So how to thrive, not just survive, is really being intentional, choosing joy and reaching out to other people and trying to support the group of people that you do know, how to support them the best that you can.
Yes.
Knowing that some people are going to need more than others.
Right. And you know what? You just made me think of something like, you know what? Take your eyes off yourself and look beyond that. And think of the people, if you're having stress and anxiety and frustrations and, you're feeling like you're getting cabin fever and things aren't going well for you and your life has been turned upside down, you are not the only one. Trust me. I guarantee you in your circle of friends and family, there's probably, 2/3 of them are feeling the same way. So reach out, be the source of joy for somebody else. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to multiple people and start saying to them, hey, how's it going? How have you been doing? I'm thinking right now of a couple of friends I know that I haven't touched base with.
I am too, as you were saying.
Like I need to call them and say, hey, what's happening? I'm going to call you, at 4:00 today or 5:00 today.
Yeah, not 4:00 today.
I have an
appointment with you at 4:00 today.
Yes. And I'm going to call you every Monday at 5:00, and I guarantee you're going to brighten somebody's day. And, figure out something and choose the joy. And I tell you, the other night I had dinner with a family member, and I've been through a lot of change in the last 10 years and trauma and loss. And, it seems like there's always something. And I have a very strong faith, and I have learned to give it to God. Mm-hmm. And that's what gets me through. And I'm not going to cry.
I'll give you some here.
Thank you. Anyway, but she said to me, she goes, you seem amazingly strong and well put together, considering everything you've gone through, everything you're going through, everything you've got on your plate right now, and everything you're doing. She goes, how do you do that? And I said, I'll tell you exactly how I do it. I said, first of all, I choose joy, and I have peace in my life. And because of my faith and my relationship with God, I give it all to him. And if you haven't given God a chance, try it. Because by giving him,
make me cry.
By giving him the responsibility, because he's bigger than me, it truly takes the weight off my shoulders, because I do believe and I do have faith and I do trust. And that gives me peace and joy in my life. And so I don't worry. I give him the work, and he takes the burden off of me, and trust me, it has made a huge impact in my life. And I didn't start really building that relationship with God until like 2 years ago, and it has saved me. And so that's
amen.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you just made me think of something as you were saying that too, is when we worry, when we worry about what happened and we focus on that, or we worry about the future, it robs us of today.
Yes.
I saw that somewhere and I was like, that is so true. When we're always worried about what's going to happen or what has happened, it might happen again, then we don't even get to joy. There's no joy in the moment. It's because we're either there or there. So thanks for sharing all that, Kelly.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about this before, but not on this venue. There are 1,440 minutes in every day. What are you going to do with your minutes?
How many again? 1,000.
1,440. I've got it on my computer.
I know you told me that so many times, but I need to write it down again, apparently.
My son Chase told me that one day. He goes, what are you going to do with your minutes? I'm like, I got to write that down. I put little stickers on my computer.
Oh, I love it. So what are you going to do with your minutes today? Everybody that's watching, what are you going to do with your minutes?
Because the minutes from yesterday are gone. The minutes for tomorrow are not here yet. What are you going to do with your
That
minutes?
is the moment minutes right now. So,
Mhm.
and we managed to talk several minutes today.
Yay.
Even
3
though
times later.
2 tries.
Oh, I have a tidbit of information for today.
Okay. Give
Do
us
you
some
know
joy.
what? You know what? You know what national day it is today? It is National French Fry Day.
Woohoo! National French Fry Day.
And you know, I had to I look up worthless information sometimes, but I had to Google and find out what is the history of the French fry. Do you know what the history of the French fry is?
Nope.
So I thought, okay, why do they call it French? And then obviously you fry the potato. So I looked it up. It is believed to have originated in Belgium back in the 1700s. And there's one area of Belgium where they would used to go fishing all the time, and they would fry their fish. Well, there were certain times of the year when they were low, there weren't that many fish. I guess they were seasonal or whatever. They would just caught
Makes
too many,
sense,
ate too many, right? Everything's kind of seasonal.
Mhm.
So they had been growing potatoes, and so to simulate the size of these little fish that they used to catch and fry, they would cut their potatoes in strips, and they would deep fry them.
Awesome. Yeah. So they didn't have the fish, but they had the potatoes, so they fried the potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
National French Fry Day.
Oh, French fry day. Not that they're really healthy for you, but use the sweet potatoes.
I was gonna say you could do that, or you could even bake them, and then you it helps
Yes.
a little bit. So there's ways to make it a little bit
Yeah.
healthier. Yeah, or just enjoy it occasionally.
Yes, everything in moderation. Give yourself permission to have some French fries today. I might go get some today.
Yeah. Well, it is National French Fry Day, so this would be the day to do it.
Yes.
I have potatoes in the fridge. I might have to make some with our dinner. That's
Right? There you go.
but I don't have a fryer, so I'll have to bake them probably. Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, awesome.
All right. So remember, we only have 1,440 minutes in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So choose joy.
And use them wisely and think outside the box. Be creative. Reach out to people. Do something different. Make a difference in someone's life.
Love it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Remember, it's your life. What are you going to do with it?
That's right.
Bye for now.
Bye.